Hello, friends, and welcome to Binge O'Clock, the podcast where we watch something and then we talk about it. I'm Joy Selden, and I've seen almost everything.
I'm Danielle, and I've seen almost nothing.
I'm Nella, and Dogs, the musical?
Dogs! It must be pronounced in exactly that way. Dogs! Hey, listeners, is this what you signed up for today?
Three women to just shout dogs into your ears. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Yeah, well, so we watched the first 3 episodes of season 3 of Fringe, episodes 1 through 3, and
wait, Nella is still with us.
I would like to take this moment to say in triumph, swear jar! You thought you saw the last of me.
You know what? She's sticking it out.
Yeah, she has decided to give it a go.
Which I'm so happy about.
Yes.
Listen, there's so much in this season that's frustrating, and we're going to talk about it, but the twists and turns are also super fun.
And I have to say, these first 3 episodes go a little bit back to form, and after swallowing that filthy, disgusting, awful pill of the season finale of season 2, they knew they had to put the kid gloves back on for just the littlest bit of second, just to lull you into a false sense of hope and security before I'm sure they will inevitably rip that rug out from under us and make us regret we ever marched forward with this stupid, stupid, lovely show.
Yet again.
Yes.
That really is this show's game. How many times can we lull our viewers into a false sense of security and then yank the rug out from underneath them? That's a perfect way to describe what the show does to its viewers.
This show is Lucy with the football.
Yes.
It is. I don't know if this show got it from somewhere, right? But there are a bunch of TV shows that love to do this, and most of them are on the sci-fi spectrum. I know Lucifer loves to do this. I don't know if, I mean, it's hard to know how much Joss Whedon contributed to this factor. You got Jossed. That's what it was called. When, if a relationship was going well, you knew someone was going to die. And the other thing was it would be a misdirect for the plot line, insert plot line here. And there would be a misdirect that was completely different. You thought it was going to go one way and it would go in the opposite direction. Let's just find more things to blame on Joss Whedon.
Right.
Sure. And I'm already looking at the timestamp of how much am I going to have to cut? But this show isn't about trashing Joss Whedon.
Reasonably certain that in Year of Our Lord 2021, a mild roasting of Joss Whedon is plenty acceptable.
Agreed. That was the mildest of roastings.
I mean, fair.
More of a toasting, one would say.
Why don't we just start with something ridiculous, which is how on earth did Charlie's hair grow back in, what was it, 3 days?
3 days.
4 days?
3 days. I understand that in this world, people who are burned over 100% of their bodies in 3rd-degree burns survive. I understand, maybe instead of going to a barber to cut your hair, you go to a barber to get hair. And they just force the hair follicles to grow really fast. And, he was trying the bald for a bit, but then he decided he didn't like the shape of his head. And he, instead of having to tough it out, he just went and got a hair extension. You know what? Fine. Let's just pretend that that's how this world works. It's at least that is better than the other things the show does to be you get it? It's a different world.
100% agreed. As ridiculous as that hair growth was, it is not the most ridiculous thing in these 3 episodes. Nowhere close.
Is it, what was it for you? Well, actually, I think I know what it was for Nella. What it was for me was the daily trips to the moon, which for me was just that, the mathematical and technological advancements. I understand that the alternate universe is meant to be more advanced than we are, but not by that much. To be able to have a straight line to the moon daily,
I know,
is so, it's so much There's a lot happening there.
I'm
I don't know.
gonna
When
pretend
we
that
were-
they're not Jeff Bezos is just like, we're working on daily trips to the moon or some nonsense. Like I'll give like that's like a pull quote that like was supposed to get people to buy the newspaper, and then when you open it, it's like, and today at a press conference, the not Jeff Bezos said, and soon in 5-10 years we'll be having daily trips to the moon, and the people are like, I spent a whole like $12 on this because the inflation in this world is obscene.
Wait, is this back when we were still talking about the whole elevator to the moon thing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I had half forgotten about that, actually.
It's an elevator. That's how you can get there daily. You don't even need a space shuttle.
Yeah, he was oh boy.
Man, that whole elevator to a docking station to get into space easier is just precisely one of those things that just makes me go, who was high enough to come up with this?
What ganj? What brand? I would like to buy stock in that, please. Thank you.
Inquiring minds would like to know. What was your most ridiculous thing in these few episodes, Nella? Or should we just go through them in order because it's really hard to rank the ridiculousness?
No,
of it?
I can't get over having.
$5 says Danielle just has a list of dumb.
I'm sure you do, and you know what? You can throw them at me and I'll rate them. But like the number one is Dogs, the musical.
That's not what I was expecting.
No, because it's just a level of, so what that tells me is that, we don't have a world in which, well, what was the name of the Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot either wasn't a thing or like was a different thing entirely. And then my question is, wait, so we still have Andrew Lloyd Webber is what you're telling me. So more so, I would rather live in the world where his cat that erased the entire score of Love Never Dies from his Clavinova, like, failed, and we got the Phantom sequel, like, 20 years earlier than we did. Like, now that would have been an AU twist. Like, but like, this is such a stupid game. You know what? I can play this stupid alternate musical game. Okay, instead of bloody Andrew Jackson, it's reasonable, brilliant John Quincy Adams. Okay. How about Saturday on the Boulevard with Frank? How about Out of the Forest? There we go. Ooh,
there we
look
go.
at all these alternate musicals that totally exist in an alternate universe. I hate it so much.
It's like Saturday in the pool with Jacob.
Yes, I love that.
Monday on the bus with Mabe. Like,
Yeah. Listeners, tell us your favorite Sunday in the Park with George not musical in this alternate universe.
instead of singing about a hat, it's like, I don't know, a dollhouse, or I don't know. A shoe.
A glove.
This really sweet scarf he's crocheting instead. Like, I don't know. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
That's it. George Surratt wasn't even a painter. He just crocheted. He crocheted artwork for 10 years before he tragically died too young.
Yeah, anyway,
But
I hated it. I hated that one so much. All right, sure. Hit me with, what are the other ones that you remember? Because honestly,
to be fair,
I think after
Nella almost
Dogs,
missed.
I think after Dogs, I really stopped paying attention to like the little like weird alternate history AUs.
Nella almost missed the ad for Dogs completely, and then I was just like, did you see the ad on top of the taxi?
Well, I feel like now that we are in season 3 and you're here and they're just going to continue doing this, Nella.
No, I know.
This is part of the AU. I think this is almost like a weekly segment that we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Like this week on whatever clever name we come up with. And then we discuss the one, just pick one because there's too many to list them all. Thing
So many.
that really irritated you.
Okay, so Danielle, what was yours? And I'll tell you why it would irritate me. Let's go.
Well, you know what? What I thought would bug you the most was the one about JFK.
I mean, wait, was it JFK or Martin Luther King Jr. and the park?
It was Well, both of those things happened actually, but I thought that the JFK might bug you more.
Right. That's right.
So yes, the newsreel President Obama has chosen former President JFK to lead the government's new agency aimed at slowing ecological breakdowns. President Kennedy plans to step down from his role as U.S. ambassador. Truly, like, I feel like the laziness of these alternate history facts belay, like, the poverty of the American education system. Truly, deeply, I feel this on a visceral level. No, I hear you.
You're not wrong.
Because they were just carelessly changing things and attempting to change them enough so that the everyday person would notice that things were different.
He was succeeded by Lyndon B. Johnson. So
if he never died.
Considering how much Lyndon B. Johnson did as a president,
right?
That makes me super nervous. Look, I have nothing against JFK. And I do think Lyndon B. Johnson had a lot of issues with Vietnam. However, I do think Lyndon B. Johnson put a lot of other things into play for the poor man that we wouldn't have today. Like, you can thank him for, say, Social Security and
my
welfare.
Parents probably wouldn't have gotten into this country without Lyndon B. fucking Johnson, okay? I cannot emphasize this enough.
Mm-hmm. He did so much for this country, and a lot of people are just like, yeah, but he screwed up Vietnam. And I'm like, you're not wrong. However,
it's a real yes-and situation.
Mm-hmm. I'm angry about this, actually.
I mean, just because, but this is the other thing about this.
Honestly,
universe, right?
I would be much more fascinated by the alternate history of where his brother wasn't assassinated.
The RFK, yeah. Robert F. Kennedy, yeah. Fun fact, I went to Robert F. Kennedy Middle School. In Queens. And we got to we actually had a renaming ceremony and the whole thing, and we got to actually learn about Robert F. Kennedy's life, and it was neat. Anyway,
wait, and also one more thing: the Voting Rights Act. That one, I cannot emphasize that one enough. The thing that then we decided, it's been long enough, we don't need it anymore. Like fools,
fools.
That's only the first one.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny.
Have we talked about it enough? It's been 15 minutes. It's fine.
You know what? We'll just sprinkle in the rest of them while talking about the episodes. How about that? Because I do think we could get back to the plot a little bit and talk about what happened in Olivia. Not that this is going to be much more positive of a conversation, because I do think what they did for most of Olivia is just torture this woman again and again and again and
precisely.
Again.
And I feel like we don't really need to dwell that much on it, because all you need to know is, they tortured Olivia. They tortured her. And if anything happens to the cabbie, we riot.
Henry! Oh my gosh.
Henry is the best.
Henry is absolutely the best. But this episode literally starts with Olivia finally in therapy. Except that it's heavy quotes around therapy, because what this fake therapist or real therapist who's just evil, who knows, is trying to convince her. Or real
therapist that wasn't given the memo of, you see, we're trying to transfer faux Olivia's memories onto her, so she thinks she's our Olivia. Even Broyles got the memo, but he doesn't even quite really understand the machinations of the secretary.
Not really. No, that's fair. That's
fair.
Because
definitely
actually,
not in the first episode, yeah.
In this AU, no one outside of the secretary, Walternate, and his very immediate circle of trust knows that the AU exists. So sure, this could fully just be a therapist, but they have Olivia finally in therapy, and the therapist is just trying to convince her that she's living in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
As a means of processing her trauma. And it's just, it's so painful to see.
It is. The absolute gaslighting that happens is it makes your skin crawl. Because if we were in a situation where everyone around us was trying to convince us that no, your memories aren't your own, actually. And when she starts to actually lose the tether to her memories because the adrenaline actually triggers the memory transfer, therapy, it's heartbreaking. Because then it's also a heartbreaking scene of her thinking, as the memories start to cross over, an address comes to mind, and in her mind, it's a safe house. But what it is her mother's house. And it's the emotional scene of her yelling about, no, my mother died when I was 14. And of course, how upsetting it must be for her mother to experience your daughter suffering like this. And you have no concept of how to comfort her aside from, what your reality is. Yeah, it's really messed up.
So it was that which I think was one of the emotional cruxes of the episode, but even earlier than that, I mean, listen, listeners, you know me, don't mess with my OTP, right? That minute where at first she's talking about Peter as the reason that she's over here and having this heart-to-heart with Henry, and then later when Henry tries to refer back to that conversation and Olivia goes, oh yeah, Frank, he's important to me, my heart just died.
Bro, I know. Although, can I just say, Olivia is undeserving of Frank, who is a good dude.
He's a very good dude. That virologist, the smallpox outbreak.
He buys incredibly expensive avocados in what I assume must be a black market.
Yes.
I definitely got vibes of like, how many like fences did you have to duck under to get those avocados?
Oh, wait, speaking of Frank, this other terrible thing they did to Olivia, I mean, in addition to messing with her mind and filling her with memories against her will, is they gave her a tattoo without her consent. I don't know why the tattoo bugs me so much, but it really, really does.
Well, because it's everything about what's happening to her is non-consensual. And there's always going to be one thing that, like, just really literally gets under your skin because it's a tattoo.
It's a tattoo. I mean, like tattoo is this permanent mark on your skin. And like, I don't have any tattoos, but like I've thought about getting tattoos pretty like for my entire, let's say, teenage and adult life. And like, I think about it a lot because I know it's like this permanent mark I'm going to be making to my skin. And like, yeah, there are tattoo removal services, but we're not there yet. Alternate reality that you can just like freaking laser off a tattoo. So to my mind, it's just like, yes, you've done a permanent thing to her skin.
Yeah.
And it, and it doesn't matter. Like everything else, even all of the torture and like not everybody knowing that she is the alternate reality Olivia. So everyone else reinforcing the gaslighting, whether or not they know it, and just completely creating this entirely different persona for her. It's just, also, that's not even how therapy works. Like, I'm sorry. If someone had a psychotic break, like, it's only been 3 days, and it sounds like they've been trying to imprint these memories for those entire 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wouldn't you try to understand? Like, this is also why I'm like team bad therapist, because it's like, I think this is like Walter Nitt's idea of a therapist. Just go in there and tell her who we think she is.
Right. So not a real therapist.
Because like, wouldn't she even try to understand where the line in the psychosis is? Like, how much is fabricated and how much is different, right? Like, she's a smart cookie. She could start going into like the alternate history of everything.
I mean, I would be curious if for an actual therapist or someone who deals with intense cases of like how does one approach someone whom you assume is having a psychotic break from reality? Like,
this is fair. I'm making a lot of assumptions.
I would assume,
if we have any,
but I would also assume this kind of psychotic break would be like, okay, so now we start the big drugs. And then we see what happens.
Yeah.
I would be curious if anybody who listens to our show is a psychotherapist and can speak to this, because I would be very curious. Like,
what is the protocol of this sort of thing?
Like to have a full-on psychotic break where your entire reality is different. Because a lot of the times with a psychotic break, there are so many levels of it where you don't necessarily have to have an entirely different life. It could just be this one thing where like you thought you had a roommate in college and you didn't, or something like that. Like it could just be a piece where you're like, yeah, Jack. And like, Jack's not real though. But this is like, my entire life is not the same.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good Olivia moments in this episode, too, though. Like when she goes to the gas station bathroom for a quick cry. I think that's a great character moment for her.
It is.
That we don't even see.
We don't even see it.
We just know she's doing it and we don't see it. All the episodes leading up to this, Danielle was just like, and then there's Olivia just on her game. And like, even these 3 episodes, Olivia's on her game. Even in the episode where it's faux Olivia, real Olivia's like in the shadows, like, you can't be me, you know? Like,
And this whole first episode, everything she's doing is trying absolutely her best to get back to her reality.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Going to the opera house, going to Massive Dynamics, seeing if she can find Nina. I mean,
I want to know. I want to know where alternate Nina is and if she's dead. I'm assuming she's dead. Why can't we have alternate Nina?
this is when Joy and I carefully do nothing with our faces.
Damn you! Damn your eyes!
I will say, in addition to Olivia just doing the most, and I love seeing her. I love seeing her at her best. I think one tiny thing I appreciate that this show did is that Scarly, and it does say Scarly all over my notes.
Yes.
Is that Scarly isn't actually a bad person who's trying to trick her, because he's not in the know. He doesn't realize that this isn't his Olivia. And I do kind of enjoy that he's picking up on that a little bit and trying to suss her out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that he's just suspicious enough to like feel like if it's not her, not that it's some ploy by the secretary, but like just like, you know, I know they were duplicates, and there's that whole conversation between him and Link about, oh yeah, you got tricked by the fake Olivia, and like you didn't even know your own partner, and Charlie being like, okay, yeah, very funny, but like trust me, you were not there. You don't know how close it is. Like, and since Charlie had that experience, it's really exciting to me personally, because like it's going to be eating the back of his head, and the spider's going to be like, get out of here. This is our turf.
That bugs. Oh, poor Charlie. Now, see, that is one of the first moments in this show. That's the moment where I started to dislike Link. That false bravado he had about knowing Olivia so well that he would be able to know. I would be able to tell. I can't stand that level of confidence in a person, if I'm going to be 100% honest.
We all know somebody with that level of confidence. If we all know them, be they coworker or friend, that, you know, we love them to bits, but Jesus, could you just not? Could you just maybe think that you yourself could be tricked actually by like a spam email?
What if you just like looked internally for a hot second and admitted that you could make a mistake, Link?
Yeah. No, I mean, let's talk about Link for a second, because like I do feel like the show needed to flesh out the group, because in the alternate universe we don't have Peter, you know, and I do feel they looked at like what they needed. Not that Link is a romantic double, because we have Frank, but they needed someone else on the team. And so they concocted Link, and boy, don't I like him. But like, you know, he serves a purpose, because faux Olivia is also a hotshot.
Yeah.
And you can see very clearly how her and Link are absolutely insufferable together, actually.
Yup. Yeah. Them and their quote Vulcan mind meld.
You are no Vulcans.
Not even Cybok.
Not even Did they wait, I forgot. Was there actually a line about Vulcan mind meld?
Yes.
So you're telling me we do live in a world where Star Trek exists in the alternate universe?
Yes, it does. It 100% exists.
They have Star Trek. They didn't. Do you really think they'd have Star Trek with JFK still alive?
Wow, this is going to be Nella's next. This is going to be Nella's next. Nella explains a thing.
Wait, okay, I found another thing that angered me. Let's move on.
I was like, no, we don't want to unpack it.
Maybe we should keep a running tally of that.
It's too much
I'd be
to
very
unpack.
here to unpack it.
It's too much to unpack. It really, truly is. Like,
I trust you.
Save that for the YouTube.
So was Gene Roddenberry in a relationship with Mengele and Nichelle Nichols at the same time? Is that what happened? Like, did that happen? Because that was kind of really informative to like everything. Yeah, no, okay. No, we need to move on because this is really a rabbit hole I cannot go down.
All right.
Nella,
We can move on.
Nella, count to 10. Come back to the podcast.
I'm just sitting here in a real, like, I'm in an I know that I don't know kind of space right now.
No, you know what? This is the reality where the original series actually got more than 3 seasons.
The
and it
actual
wasn't
5
canceled.
seasons
It
it was
actually got
supposed
the
to
full
have?
5 seasons. Like, yeah.
Ooh.
Or it's the universe where, okay, they were canceled at 3 seasons, but then they started doing the movies, and then after the 4th movie, they introduce the new series with the original cast, which was one of the plans, but they never did it.
Oh.
Because, you know, in the part when they're just like, they're probably going to have some like bad ship or whatever, and then they reveal the remade Enterprise, and they're all like, we're home. Like, there was a plan of like, and then we'll fold it into a new version of Star Trek.
I would have really liked to see that.
But we didn't get it. Instead, we
No,
got
we
the
didn't.
weird like D&D RPG version of Star Trek in the 5th movie.
You know who did get it? Lincoln Folivia.
I'm going to be even more mad that they got it and I didn't.
Oh, it's irritating as
So,
hell.
but now this becomes the problem of like the fact that, all right, so in the reboot Star Trek movies, we have Captain Kirk, but when he's a child, like he's really into like classical music, which is Beastie Boys. But then we have to live with the reality of they have an entire song that mentions Spock. So now we're in this feedback loop of you have introduced a band that is aware of Star Trek and the character of Spock, but we have to ignore the fact that they know of Spock, unless this is one of those weird Star Trek, like you went back in time to the Beastie Boys era and like they met Spock. And this is just them calling out their buddy Spock. So if they're doing Vulcan mind melds, what you're telling me is no one goes, hey, William Bell, the guy who looks like Spock, is what I'm really coming down to. This is where I'm at.
I just, William Bell just walks around like I get that all the time, man.
Didn't we
Must
tell you
have
you
one
look
of
like
those
Leonard
faces.
Nimoy? All the time.
All the
all
time.
the time. I mean, like, this is also one of my favorite little tidbits about the latest MCU, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. It's like, we know that Lil Nas X survives the blip because they sing Old Town Road at karaoke.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
I
Like
love
that
that.
he didn't blip.
He was around to create his
He was around to create
oh my God.
He was around to create Old Town Road, which is
love
one
it.
of my favorite little nuggets.
I love it. But that also
He
means
does too.
that also means that enough of like the Red Dead Redemption crew was around to complete the game so that it could be released in time for him to create the song based on the game and use the game footage for his music video.
I didn't even know that was the inspiration
That's-
for the song.
Yeah, that's why it became so viral.
Oh.
Because he used the game.
Oh.
Now you know.
Now I know. The more you know.
The more you know.
If you try to pull one thread from the tapestry of time,
Then all of a sudden, you find yourself in a reality where
everyone thinks
Insert
that William
irritating
Bell
thing.
looks like Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy.
I mean, it's the classic problem of like, calling zombies or like, any sort of fictional reality that really calls back to something that or the Lord of the Rings example of the orcs saying, looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. Wait, orcs have menus? Do they have sit-down restaurants? What's going on here?
I think that's my favorite XKCD joke, where it's like the Millennium Falcon. And what's that? It's my ship. No, a falcon.
Yeah, but what is a falcon?
What?
I'll take what is a falcon for 200, Alex.
Speaking of, should we discuss
We're
episode 3, where no one knows what a
far off
ballpoint
topic.
pen is? Or
Well,
shall we discuss
the
episode
millennial
2, because we didn't quite get there?
I mean, they know what a ballpoint
the millennial
pen is. It's just
moment.
no one's seen any.
The child didn't know.
It's a millennial moment where it's like, what's this? A typewriter. What the hell is that? It's like a pre-computer. Stop making me feel old.
What's that? A floppy disk. What's that?
Who 3D printed the save button?
What's this? A cassette. What does this do? What?
Children will never understand the relationship between a number 2 pencil and an audio cassette, and it makes me sad.
Well, see, so Olivia and her crew and everyone who was older recognized the ballpoint pen, but that child that Link tried to interview on the street did not.
I haven't seen these since preschool or kindergarten or whatever, like grade school or whatever it was they said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, again, we come down to the point of like, look, I write with a quill because I'm that swear jar. Like, you can't tell me that no one in this world whom you work with is like, oh yeah, they're really expensive, but there's just something I really enjoy about the art of writing with a ballpoint pen.
I mean, that is why the accident happens, is because an older gentleman who is a professor is just like, oh my God, a ballpoint pen.
No,
and,
but it's like
goes to pick it
their
up.
reaction to it that makes me like, it's just weird. It's just a weird, like, when also you set up like that's unusual.
Right,
but it's
right.
like,
That's unusual.
You know, it is a little weird. I think that part of it is that this universe is so regimented.
yeah.
And perhaps it came out of that. And part of it is also that I think that Olivia, Link, and Scarly don't really have lives and don't really do anything or know anyone outside of their very insular crew, because like the entire hospital ward and everyone who works in that hospital
like
deals
a
with
bunch-
ballpoint pens every single
Yeah.
day. When they went to the hospital, they were like, oh yeah, these patients in this ward use ballpoint pens because they work better for them.
Yeah, because some people's minds work better than looking at a screen. No, they're definitely like those CrossFit bros that they have no concept of a life outside of their own.
Yep, that's exactly
Like-
what this is.
It's a great way to stay fit and keep in shape.
Do you lift, bro? Like, yeah, anyway. Speaking
Oh,
of the ballpoint pen, can we just talk about that episode, which is like the weirdest take on the flowers for Algernon I've ever seen? The whole, like, this medication made him smarter, too
Super
smart. But instead of, like, the original short story where, like, he sort of regresses back, this guy is now just trapped in like no longer being able to interface with humanity.
Right. Well, before that happens, though, he does what everyone in Fringe does, which is he turns to murder because
Right.
he finds out that the researchers want to regress him on purpose. And so he just kills everyone who's going to regress him.
I don't know about you, but if this was me and I could like see all the patterns and see like the writing in the world around me, I would just GTFO, man. I would like go into the middle of nowhere where nobody could find me.
Pull an Incredible Hulk and like be like sad hitchhiking down the road, like to sad music with your backpack. And like everyone's like on the hunt for you, but you're too smart for them or something. Like, because you're Bruce Banner. But you're not. You're this like weird, like not Ethan Hawke looking guy. Like
He does look a bit like Ethan Hawke.
he does, right? It was very distracting for me.
Alternate reality Ethan Hawke.
But yes, instead of escaping, which I think is the logical choice, he turns to murder.
Yes.
Murder.
Well, not very logical now, was it? But that's the problem. Like, when you become too smart, it's just like, I can commit the perfect murder. And you never can. No one ever can. Obviously, smart enough to try to calculate things, not smart enough to watch a Hitchcock or two.
But I love like the like smarts doesn't save you from hubris.
Yes.
You know?
No, I do enjoy that. Because it doesn't. I do enjoy, though, poor Astrid being like, why is this murderer better at calculating than me?
No, I 100% also love they called her up and was just like, so what if we do this? And it's like, that's an impossible thing to answer. What do you mean it's impossible to answer? And then she literally proves why it's impossible to answer.
Yeah.
But what is the mathematical probability of these two situations? Impossible!
Although I struggled a little bit with this concept because, like, fundamentally, while he is able to, like, study people and notice patterns, I feel like there's, like, a level of, like, he doesn't know Olivia. And I understand that, well, then that's why he fails, because, like, she doesn't know the protocol. But it's also like, but you don't know her. You don't know the choices she'd make. You've never met her before. Like, not in any way that matters. Like, there is, like, a level of hand waving that I feel just bugs me a little bit about how, like, he like, even Sherlock Holmes has to ask questions every once in a while to get the full picture. I mean,
yeah, I think they gave us this concept of, like, he watched her for a day and he was able to, not even a day, like probably just a few hours, and was able to concoct all of that just from that. And honestly, he gets it mostly right. If it wasn't for the fact that she isn't this reality's Olivia, she doesn't remember the protocols. She doesn't remember little small tidbits because those memories either haven't clicked or, it's just too, too right brain. You know what I mean? Like, she clicks with people and she clicks with those memories, but she doesn't always click with the, like, even though, she herself has this photographic memory, she wasn't physically there to learn the thing. So, like, she doesn't have that to pull from. Does that make sense? Like, she has a memory that, like, there might be a protocol, but, like, she doesn't actually know what it is.
Yeah, I'm a little unclear on how they did this memory transfer, and the show never really explains it.
Yeah,
injected her with cloudy water.
Yeah,
like what exactly happened? Because it also could have been the sort of thing where Brendan just forgot to include that on the list of items of things she should remember. He just plain forgot.
Like, how did they even know? Like, who? Like. What, do they, like, subject themselves to tests every now and then? And Brendan's, like, just gonna extract some memories and copy them over onto a floppy disk and then inject them back in. You know what I mean? Like, they just happen to have Olivia's memories, like, handy.
That's what I mean. Like, it's very strange.
And if you created that, like, if you fabricated that of, like, you need to know who Frank is, you need to know who your mom is, you need to know Charlie, you need to, like, we have probably... files and, like, security cameras, and we can, like, probably digitize this as much as possible. You're not going to be like, oh yeah, last week they imported a code that you need to use for the phone. That's not a thing you're going to think is important. And then it's just like a protocol of, like, air quality is also one of those things where it's like, it's also probably something people just don't even think of because it's everywhere.
Exactly. It's
right.
Just,
and like, how would you even have a reality without that? Right. It's like putting on your seatbelt in a car. That wasn't always true for us, but it's true now. And like, if you had to tell somebody, oh, by the way, you should put a seatbelt on, and you had to explain why, I'm sure that person would be like, I don't understand. Like, you're driving perfectly safe. Why would I, you know what I mean? Like, somebody who was totally alien to that concept. And I think he's drawing on what is so true about their world, and like that's why it messes him up, because it's like putting on a seatbelt in a car, and she didn't put on her seatbelt and just kept running.
I totally agree with you. I think that's exactly what happens. And even though it is a little hand wavy, I do love the twist at the end of that episode.
You mean where Peter is just like, you should have died?
No. Where the murderer is caught because she doesn't know how to use the oxygen. Yeah. Like I enjoy that as a detail, and I enjoy that is what led to his capture.
Again, you should watch more Hitchcock.
Hubris.
It's always something.
Hubris.
Now, we are talking about Phantom Peter, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't talked about our original crew at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just too sad.
It is.
It's very sad. We'll briefly touch on it with the reading of William Bell's will.
Oh.
And Walter not necessarily agreeing with William Bell's like advice, which was basically like, cross the line and, like basically see how far your potential takes you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've crossed the line before and I've regretted it. And then eventually he does open up the safe deposit box and it's like, oh God, he gave me massive dynamic. Oh God.
Nina's standing right there and you give her a freaking bell?
He did.
How
he
dare
did give
you?
her a bell.
I mean, he also gave her a check, which I'm just like.
But not the company.
And referred to their brief something in Tuscany.
Fleeting moments alone in Tuscany or something.
Oh,
Little
Walter,
black dress, Nina Sharp.
Little black dress, Nina Sharp. Walter in this episode was pretty heartbreaking. Just seeing him so much more scattered than he's ever been.
Yeah.
I think was difficult. At the same time, though, I like the way that they allowed Astrid to have an actual meaningful impact on the episode.
Some actual agency, yeah.
Yes, exactly. By, again, making her the person who is able to comfort Walter and is able to get him through those moments,
Yeah. I think we also see the differences between Olivia and faux Olivia, which are weirdly
vast,
but also in the weirdest way, like she is way more conniving, but also way more personable. And
yes.
It's annoying.
This is probably the thing I like least about seeing Peter with her and seeing Peter not falling for her because he is being tricked. Like he actually does think that this is his Olivia, but faux Olivia is like Olivia with less baggage. She doesn't have her walls built up as thick and high because she never had to do that. And
she wears jeans.
Yeah. And that's the fact that that's what Peter falls for. The lack of trauma really rubs me the wrong way sometimes.
I mean, there's
but the
also
timing. I don't know. The timing of it makes me feel like we went through a thing together, and like I think she says the right things of just like I don't know. It makes you really think, and he's like, yes. Like I think it's because they went through this thing together of seeing the alternate universe, of seeing like how things could be, like of almost losing on that opportunity. Like I think it's like that one saying. Oh, from what show is it? No, from BoJack Horseman, where, when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, all the flags are red.
Yeah. Yeah, all the red flags just look like flags.
They'll just look like flags, exactly.
Yep.
Like, I think it's that.
Probably. It's a little bit that, but it is also little irritating things. She says that she loves the song that's playing in the bar. And by the way, it makes me mad that we get to see Olivia and Peter dance. We get to see Olivia and Peter in a bar drinking whiskey together, but it is not Olivia.
Yeah.
I hate that. But she hears the song and she loves it, and Peter goes, oh, as long as I've known you, I've never heard you express an interest in music. And now all of a sudden they have this thing in common that he and Olivia did not have in common. And again, see, like all of these little things are drawing them closer and closer together.
Both are true. Right? Because like when you enter into an intimate relationship with somebody, all of a sudden there's a bunch of things that are new and different. And like Peter always wanted Olivia to be open with him and honest and invite him in and get behind the wall. And that's what Peter thinks is happening. And meanwhile, Olivia is just naturally a personable person. Like she doesn't have her, and it's exactly like you said, she doesn't have baggage. She doesn't have baggage with Walter. She's just kind of like, oh, hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I'm good. Like she's so open and inviting and tries to make herself as blank of a slate as possible so that she can just like worm her way into the fold. And like, honestly, the perfect freaking undercover person, because where do you go from a person who has all their walls up, but a person who is way more open and being like, yes, I'm here in my feelings and I'm here with you and like I am going to invite you in and I am going to like share more about me and we are going to have this great connection, which is exactly what Peter wants.
Yep, it is.
But all I could think about was the frickin' jeans.
The jeans.
She's wearing jeans. It's not your Olivia. She's wearing jeans. She didn't tie her hair back.
Just everything about it. She's not your Olivia.
Yeah.
She's not your Olivia.
But he's just so damn happy to be there. He's just so happy to be in a relationship with her that he just, he can't see it.
No, it bothers me too. Actually, I think that's my one more thing. The jeans. The jeans are my one more thing.
I think that's a great one more thing.
She's not wearing the blacks and grays. Dang it.
And
Wait,
Nella, Olivia doesn't wear all black and gray when she goes back to the other universe and they switch out her memory either. There's one scene where she's literally wearing a pink sweater. Like, pink sweater?
I know.
What are you doing?
I know. This is ultimately where I'm just like, this is why Olivia is also still really good, even though she has Olivia's memories. Because, like, she still has a photographic memory, right? And she's still able to crack the case because she was able to piece two completely different pieces of information together. And, like, because that's what she does. Like, she makes those connections and she's just like, this company is a shell corporation for this company. That's our Olivia. That's where she is.
Yes.
Which I love to bits, even though she's wearing some ridiculous stuff and she's got faux Olivia swagger where I'm just like, yeah, I sure.
And her marksman skills, which I love as well.
I know.
Our superpowered Olivia. Meanwhile, faux Olivia in the other universe is like, oh boy, you have a photographic memory. How do I do that?
That's going to come into play too, Nella. It's going to be very funny.
Oh my God.
It's like, yeah, Olivia, what was that number of a thing? And she's just like,
Good. She should struggle.
Wait, right. Nella, you said something last night that was going to be like the title of the episode, and I don't think we actually talked about it.
There's something rotten in the state of Dunham.
Yes.
No, it's that Charlie is the one who picks up that there's something rotten in the state of Dunham. I just didn't get a chance to say it in this episode. But now it could be the title.
There you go. You said it. Now, are we doing one more things? Are we on one more things?
I think so.
Sorry. I feel like these first 3 episodes are a really good introduction. And I just think like stuff happens in them. Honestly, the B plot, the overarching sort of plot line, which we know inevitably where it's going, and like none of us are happy with it, but like I'm more than happy to watch them do Fringe Fringe investigations for as long as possible.
Go back to our monster of the week format.
Yeah,
as little as I liked the whole twist with the box, and neither here nor there on that, but so be it. That loaded sigh.
Yeah. I think my one more thing is faux Olivia, you got to come up with a better plan than just shooting a man in your apartment. You have to come up with a better plan than that. You don't know if he didn't have a friend that he was like, I need to go make something right, but if you don't hear from me back in like 3 hours, call the police and I was last seen here. Like, not that he did do this because he obviously has no friends, but like, that's a big assumption to make. Like, you can't get rid of a body in 3 hours, Olivia. Like, especially as you get called off onto it. Like, that body is still in her bathroom.
Yes.
When they get called off to a scene, it's still there.
Bleeding into the living room.
Bleeding into the wood floor. You can't get that swear jar up.
And then she distracts Peter by making out with him.
Yeah, no. No, I hate her.
Because there's blood pooling from under her bathroom door.
There's blood pooling from under your bathroom door. You're bad at this.
Poor Danielle's face. I honestly,
weird swear jar measuring up with Newton. Newton should have handled it. He's your fixer in this world. But no, you've got to walk around like you've got the bigger swear jar. Like,
that's what I was just going to say. Because, like, I don't understand. Look, every time I watch season 3, I never even, having even known what actually happens between the two of them, I still don't know why it's like she had to be the big dog on campus. Like, I never understand why
because
she
fundamentally
makes this a
she's
power
insecure,
struggle.
and she's also insecure, and she's afraid of being caught. But she has to be, she has to put on a bigger swagger instead of sitting and thinking for a goddamn second.
I mean, we also have her fresh off the, having been overpowered by her alternate self. So I'm sure she's also like, while I'm here, I need to be big dog on campus. Because in her reality, Lincoln's the big dog on campus. She doesn't run Fringe Division.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, I know Olivia doesn't run our Fringe Division either. But our Olivia is like such a big deal in our Fringe Division.
Link is the leader of that team.
Yes.
He 100% is. I think there's literally a moment where our Olivia, with faux Olivia's memories in her head, like, Link turns around like, where's my toolkit? And she just pops up beside him like, here it is, as if that's part of her job, to make sure he has his toolkit when he needs it. And I'm like, that's not what, it's fine.
But meanwhile, our Olivia is the leader of our Fringe group, essentially. Or if there was a leader at all, it would be our Olivia, because she is the one who puts those pieces together, and she's usually the one who leads the charge. She definitely shares that power with, Peter and Walter, and like, she's a very good, like, I hate to classify her as a manager, but like, that's basically her job, is like making sure to piece all the chaos into a little bubble that they can actually work from.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. You're right. Well, she does manage the team, and she delegates the tasks. She makes sure that everyone has a job to do. She tells them where to go and when. And for the most part, they follow her lead because, she's a killer investigator.
So I'm all that to say, I'm sure Olivia is like, I've got some big shoes to fill. So she is like, I'm going to see if I can knock down a peg, the one person who can be actually knocked down a peg.
And that's Newton. Which, you know what, we know he's not a great planner either, Nella, because of the whole hospital debacle.
It's a heart attack pill.
Because of the heart attack pill.
What a stupid, stupid pill.
Okay, what is my one more thing? I think I'm just going to say, because it was a fun moment, I think one of my favorite conversations happens between Walter and Astrid in this episode, where Walter shows Astrid that he's gotten a safety deposit box key, and he's worried about the implications behind the note. Don't be afraid to cross the line. And he kind of explains that all to Astrid, and Astrid goes, so you were the cautious one?
That is also one of my favorite moments. One of my favorite Astrid moments.
Yes.
Actually, how could I have forgotten? Wait, I have one more things.
Okay, because I was going to say I have another one. So you go and then I'll go.
So my favorite Walter moment of all time.
Ooh, I wonder if we're going to have the same one. Because actually I had another thing, and my other thing was a Walter moment. Is it going to be the same, Joy?
Is it the music?
Yes. Of course it's the music. It's literally highlighted in my notes.
No, this is my favorite Walter moment across all 5 seasons. Like, this is my top tier number 1. Like, where he's listening to the music and he's showing them his brainwaves, and he like even works it into Figaro, and it's just like, look at my mouse on the monitor, like that whole thing.
I want look section. At my neurons on a shirt.
Look at my neurons. Look at him go.
It's highlighted in my notes, Joy. Aw, we had a shared one more thing.
Twinsies. But yes, I think that covers it.
Yep.
Even though half the episode was Star Trek.
It's okay. It's okay. We did the thing. We talked about the show.
But it's such a, like, I would love to actually look at that and be like, no, you're right. That does mess with a whole bunch of other sci-fi TV timelines. 100%.
100%. All right, listeners, we're going to end things there. We would love to hear from you. Please check us out at Binge O'Clock Pod on Twitter and Facebook, where you can answer the question, what alternate musical would you like to see? You can also email us at bingeoclockpod@gmail.com. And don't forget, we have a Patreon. Find us at patreon.com/BachPod.
That's so true. And on our Patreon right now, you can actually get some awesome desktop backgrounds as well as some icons. And be sure to tell your friends, tell your family, tell your loved ones, tell the live lobsters in your life about Binge O'Clock, and we will see you next time.